This week on the show, we find out if Bob Iger's promise to use generative AI content will allow us to see Patton Oswalt's Star Wars dreams come true. Plus, it's time to give Troy Baker another award. All that and this week's top stories. It's time for another episode of Nerd It Here Weekly. Bruno, do the thing.
We're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
It's better not awaken anything in me.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I'm responsible for my own happiness. I can't even be responsible for my own breakfast.
We have Santa Claus. Assemble.
Welcome to another episode of Nerd It Here Weekly. I'm Riley Trahan, Senior Entertainment Editor at Nerd It Here First. And, as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, movie critic Deepak Chitnis.
Can I now be known as Buzz Meridian?
Yeah, hold on. Yep.
Updating the document.
Putting it in the notes. Producer of this fine program and others, Bruno Meneses.
Can I now be known as Deepak Chitnis?
Well, okay.
It is available.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
recently, great, incredible timing on your request. And the one game on Jeff Knightley's Steam Wish. Sorry, I'm going to take that again. And the one game on Jeff Keighley's Steam wish list. It's Jackson Trahan.
Well, which one is it? You'll never know.
Did you see this, Jack? Did you see
No.
that he tweeted some screenshot of something off Steam and he had one game on his wish list and somebody was
That is
like,
pretty funny.
what do you have on your wish list? And he just replied with eye emojis.
Is it a list if it's only one item?
Well, here's the other thing, Deepak. The functionality of Steam is much like the functionality of Amazon. So it's not like he could have, we're going to talk about Jeff and his great awards ceremony later. It's Jack's favorite time of the year. But he is an insider and he does have certain connections. And so him sort of tweeting these eyeball emojis got like a lot of rumor mills churning about, ooh, what could it be? What could it be? But like, it has to be something listed in the store, right? It's not like some long-awaited, like unreleased game.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
could
don't
be
think you can have like
could be
an
a pre-order,
unlisted
right?
link
Like
to the
a-
store page. You could have like a game on Steam.
Yeah, it could be GTA 6, but it's not going to be like something that the rest of us don't know exists,
Mhm.
right? It's not.
Well, even
Half-Life
then, I don't think
3.
that would be on his wish list. I think you're right that would have to be something that is on the storefront right now.
Well,
But I don't know.
Well, anyway, if Jeff ever lets us know what he's looking for, maybe we can get him it for Christmas. But until then, we have plenty of stuff going on to keep you occupied this holiday season. We have reviews of all the award season movies coming up. We still don't know whether or not Deepak will be seeing Hamnet, but we will be talking all about all the awards contenders this year. We are going to be covering the Game Awards in this episode and moving forward. And Bruno and I have started cooking up a very exciting campaign, a season-long sort of comic book project that we're going to get the gears going on here pretty soon. So you won't want to miss any of that. Make sure that you follow this fine podcast wherever you get podcasts and follow our program on the social media app of your choice at Nerd It Here First to make sure you never miss a thing. All right, y'all, let's get to the news. And Jack, we're going to start with it. There's already controversy in this year's Game Awards as the developers of hit independent game Megabonk have withdrawn from the Game Awards after they say their best debut indie nomination was bunk.
That's not exactly the wording that they used.
Well,
but
yeah, they didn't say bunk, but it sounded like bonk, and I liked it.
No, I like it also.
Yeah.
I think controversy is also maybe a little bit of a strong word, but this did happen. So the developer of Megabonk, who is semi-anonymous,
Is it
did put out
Megabonk
a
or
tweet.
Magabonk?
Megabonk.
No, Magabonk is a game I play in the meat space. This is a cyber game.
No, Megabonk is a 3D, basically a clone of Vampire Survivors. I don't think anyone would take grievance with me saying that.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. I talked about it was my pop culture recommendation actually on this
we
very
did
podcast
talk about it on this
weeks
program.
ago. And it got nominated for the best debut indie game, and the developer put out a tweet saying it's an honor, but unfortunately I don't think it should qualify as a debut indie game as I've made games in the past under different studios, and so it's not a debut game. This is insane. Basically, no game that is ever up for the Game Awards is made entirely by people who've never worked on a game
Just a
before.
first timer out the gate.
It's always been the first studio's game.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are maybe a little jaded have been saying that this is a good PR move in that Megabonk was not going to win Best Debut Indie Game, and this is getting a lot more press coverage than he maybe would have gotten just as a nominee. And that's an interesting point.
Sure.
But at any rate, it's
Yeah.
there has been a lot of genuine controversy around the debut indie game category, and I think Claire Obscure's 12th nomination being in that category. So I think out of everything, this is a classy move on his part, at least in some way.
I definitely find the reasoning interesting, especially given I think me and you, Jack, even spoke about this earlier this week, that another one of the nominees for indie debut, Dispatch, has quite a few people who have worked on the Telltale games. So
that was sort of a part of the pitch, I think, of that game, and that is not being brought up now that they are nominated for Best Debut Indie Game.
It is pretty much considered a Telltale game not made by Telltale, so
right. So it's an interesting category, but the Game Awards are always an interesting time.
Well, now, riddle me this, young Jackson. What I think you're taking a very rational and balanced view of this story, but what I say to you is, what if John Megabonk himself is in fact already the sole developer of a hit video game? What if?
Well, I mean, this is. He is saying that he has developed a game before, and there is. I said earlier that the developer of Megabonk is semi-anonymous.
Yes.
I believe I don't admittedly know enough to maybe be talking completely about this, but I believe the idea is that the developer whose public name, oh god, I wish I could find it. Hold on.
He's John Megabonk.
That is how he signed the tweet. But no, in the credits of the game, his name is Vedinad, which is Danny Dev backwards, which is a YouTuber that some people follow. So I believe the idea is that this is that developer who has worked with studios before, but Megabonk is his first solo venture.
Well, I definitely wasn't building to any kind of hyperbolic and silly point to take us out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be too serious about it.
What if it's Concerned Ape, Jack? This is my point. What if Eric's back on his
developer
bullshit?
Of Megabonk is very famous and popular developer of Stardew Valley, and who has been working on his second game for years, very publicly,
just quietly in the background. Did this?
Yeah, I mean that would be crazy.
Yeah. I'm saying he knows he's ineligible because he's already. It's either that or it's the guy who did that Roman time travel game I played a couple years ago. It's one of these guys who's already done a big time, massively successful solo venture, and he's
maybe
just
when
Megabonk
wins anyway because everybody votes for it.
The write-in campaign is just so swole. Fair enough. All right. Well, before we move on to any more too serious news, I did want to take a beat to just, again, as I said earlier, Bruno and I are getting ready to kind of have comic books take center stage on this dang show for once in our gosh darn lives. And so we're going to take a little preview of that by just taking a beat to talk about this week's comic book offering that I think stood out to both of us, Batman and Deadpool. I've got my issue of it here. I opted for the
That is neither Batman nor Deadpool.
Well, there were so many variant covers, Jackson. Yes. You wouldn't believe how many covers of this dang thing they wanted to sell you. We are going to talk about it in a second. I went for the cover that was Dr. Doom strangling the Joker because, because that's my whole brand on this show. I'm sure you're aware of kind of what I get into around here.
I don't have it here with me, but the variant cover that I picked up was of, it was Robin with Gambit, and this is the second printing of Deadpool and Batman, because this is the printing from DC Comics. Last month or a couple months ago, Marvel had their print of Deadpool and Batman, which also had their own line of variant covers.
It's like anarchy out here.
Hit you all with some of the variant covers that were going on in this issue. So we said Joker and Doom and Damian and Gambit. Right. Of course, Batman and Deadpool. I'll just kind of buzz through these. I'll try and leave a moment or two for a joke if somebody wants to have some fun. Zatanna and Scarlet Witch. Big Barda and Rogue. Nightwing and Wolverine. Sorry, the Laura Kinney Wolverine.
Oh.
Wonder Woman and Captain America. Batman and Logan. Constantine and Doctor Strange. Harley Quinn and the Hulk. Wonder Woman and Ms. Marvel. The Incredible Hulk 340, which is the Wolverine claws with Hulk's face in the claws, but the face, I think it was Batman with claws and
No,
with Deadpool.
it was So it was Deadpool holding Wolverine's skeleton with the claws, reflecting Batman.
There
Jesus.
you go. Then there was Batman and the Punisher. There was a Shiny cover. There was a Crisis on Infinite Earths
And
homage,
Batman's
which
getting up to all sorts of fights.
Yeah.
you've seen in the past is Superman holding a dead Supergirl, but I think this was
Just-
Deadpool holding a dead Batman. Then there was a Wonder Woman and Storm, a Lobo and Deadpool, and a Catwoman and Emma Frost. So boy, do they want to sell a lot of issues of this comic book is the
Yeah.
point.
And like, not to interject here, but like these variant covers aren't like completely irrelevant to the comic book itself. I do think the comic being called Deadpool and Batman is a little bit misleading because the comic book
Absolutely.
itself is a collection of short stories with all of these team ups sprinkled in there. So
Not all of them, but a
well,
ton
no,
of
not
them.
all of them, but like most of them. There are a couple like guest artists that made their own versions of certain like team ups, but most of the variant covers they'll have their like relevant story like in either this printing or the printing from a couple months ago that Marvel did.
Yeah. Yep. So very good stuff across the board. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed checking it out. Both Marvel and DC continue to sort of be in this weird kind of limbo right now where their universes are kind of doing extracurricular activities.
Right.
But a fun time to jump in on a lot of other stuff, like you got crossover DC Marvel books coming out. Fun time to hit your comic book store. And before we move on too far from talking about DC superheroes, we did want to take a little bit of time in this week's roundup to speculate blindly about a casting announcement regarding the film Man of Tomorrow. Deepak, you are convinced that this signals the entrance of our Amazonian queen Diana into the James Gunn universe.
After
Who
the
else
follow-up
could
updates, I think it's pretty obvious that might be who it is.
Yeah, because we've been told that the Wonder Woman project is being fast-tracked. They have said they want a female actress in her 20s who has a muscular physique. If it's not Wonder Woman, I mean, my knowledge of
It's
the DC...
Big Barda.
I was really about to say Big Barda.
It could be, and I don't think it is, though. It's probably Diana.
No, it's almost certain. This is almost definitely Wonder Woman, right?
I will only argue Big Barda because James Gunn has a few times mentioned that he wants to like bring in the new gods in this, not new dogs, new gods into this. He has sort of like signaled very recently that we are sort of like going in the direction of Darkseid, at least eventually, with his whole gods and monsters conflict. So at least maybe not now, but Big Barda is definitely a possibility within the DC.
And I hope that's the direction we're going in. Tom King, friend of this show, also very involved from what we've seen in the news. We don't know anything from. I didn't mean to say friend of this show and imply that we have like insider information. We've interviewed him a couple of times. He lives in DC and he roots for the Nationals, so I consider him a friend of this show. But he's been very involved in these James Gunn movies, and he was once writing the Ava DuVernay New Gods project that got scuttled. So I would expect a New Gods thing to prop up here pretty soon. But I do think, Deepak, that you're right, that I do think this is Wonder Woman. I think you've got to get a Wonder Woman before you get a Big Barda, guys. Come on, that's just got to be DC Comics 101. I know Gunn's trying to play it cool and loose with his weird character bullshit that he gets up to, but he's got to have a Wonder Woman and he's got to have a Batman. And I think that this definitely sounds like his Wonder Woman
and he has two
casting
Batman
announcement. He has too many Batmen, if anything. Now, we should say, first of all, do you guys have any picks for the James Gunn universe Wonder Woman?
There's a lot of names that get thrown out there in the fan casting community corners of the internet. I think Adria Arjona is a good pick. I think Elizabeth Debicki is a good pick. Both have the physique, both have obviously the acting ability to do it. They're a little different from each other aesthetically or ethnically, but regardless, I think they could both play that part pretty well. I think my pick would probably be Arjona.
Deepak, what do you think of the idea that they cast Ana de Armas and then show her a lot in the trailer, but really only give her one quick scene in the movie? I think that'd be an
Sounds
exciting
like
way
an
to.
easy, low-hanging fruit lawsuit.
I have seen this Ana de Armas for Wonder Woman like scuttlebutt on Reddit or whatever, and I'm just like, guys, do you not understand how any of this works? She is way too famous to be Wonder Woman. I don't know that. He's going for unknowns with all these guys, right?
Unknowns are
Certainly
just sort
seems
of
to
on the
care about
cusp.
like matching
Yeah.
a visual aesthetic more than a name.
Is it a long shot to make a possible argument for Katie O'Brien?
Okay.
Who is she? Oh, I don't.
I've
She's,
just been seeing her a lot recently. She was in Final Reckoning this year, but I saw her last year in Love Lies Bleeding, which is probably what made me think of her.
Oh, Final Reckoning. She's the girl on the submarine.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
She's 5'6".
Yeah,
5'6".
she could. She could do it. Mm-hmm.
Who's that beefcake on the Amazon show that wants to play Batman so bad?
Oh,
What?
Alan Richson.
I saw
You gonna
him.
cast him as Wonder Woman?
Well, I don't think he's playing
It's a
Wonder
good
Woman, but
consolation prize.
I saw him saying that he's somebody. He said
Yeah,
he got
he's-
cast.
he gave an update saying that he talked to with James Gunn, saying that he's definitely not going to be Batman, but there is something for him.
Yeah.
Aquaman, maybe. I think that's what you had said,
Listen.
Riley. Yeah.
Listen, he says he will not do it. I
Right,
want
it's
him
like,
to do
don't
it
get me started.
so badly. Alan Richson, for anybody who hasn't been keeping up with my passion about this, played Aquaman on the television program
that's what it was.
Smallville
Listen,
when I was a teen, and I would really like him to
You're
go back to
convincing
that.
me, Riley. I wasn't on this train last time, but I'm kind of being convinced about Richardson being Aquaman.
And
I mean,
he's
he
just
looks
got
like Arthur.
he's got he has developed into the build I would love to see for an Aquaman. At the time, he had a very stereotypical Aquaman build. He was like a skinny teen. But now I'm like, give me Beefcake Arthur
The
with the
thing is-
hook and the
Post
beard.
Momoa world.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the thing is, how would they be shooting this? Because realistically, he is bigger than everybody he is going to be next to.
Under the water, Bruno. That's how you shoot it.
That's how you shoot it.
Okay.
A bald Richson would have made an interesting Lex, I think.
Ooh, that's not a bad call.
Well,
All
that's
right, well,
famously Nicholas
Paul
Hoult
Richardson
tried to
as Jim
be.
Prolex.
Famously Nicholas Hoult tried to play or what's the term I'm looking for?
auditioned.
Not tryout. Audition. Thank you.
Yeah.
He
Jack,
tried it. He
Jack's
went to
such
the
a
tryout.
sporto. Couldn't
Yeah,
pull the word.
he's at the job. Auditioned for Superman and ended up getting Lex Luthor. So maybe he auditioned for Batman and now he's our weird beefcake jonkler, like in all the animated movies.
Ooh, yeah, give me a
Wide
beefcake
as a brick
character.
shithouse.
Speaking of guys who just can't stop trying out for parts, next up in the roundup, Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio are both reported to be circling roles in Michael Mann's Heat 2, the sequel to Heat. Deepak, what is this movie about and what role will these two men be playing? I was under the impression this was going to be a prequel to the 1995 film Heat. I don't see Leo or Christian Bale in 2026 playing a young version of either of those characters. Or honestly, any character.
It is
no disrespect, but
it is a prequel, but I think it does the Better Call Saul thing of moving a little bit forward from the first movie with respect to the Shaharless character, who's Val Kilmer. There have always been rumors of Austin Butler taking on that role. I wasn't sure from the reporting, I may have missed it, as to whether Leo and Bale are circling different roles or they're circling the opposite, the Pacino De Niro counterparts for each of them, because I know Adam Driver's been in the mix since God knows when. I think Oscar Isaac was being talked about at one point. But if it's going to be Leo versus Bale, I think that's about as good of a cast as you can do. And I'm not too concerned about them looking like the parts. What matters more to me is whether they can inhabit those characters and act those parts. And the idea of Leo being Pacino and Bale being De Niro, if that's what they're going for, sounds about right just from an energy perspective.
I think the energy is definitely there. I do not want to be the fun time movie police, but I am kind of if these guys do get cast in those roles, I will be doing a quick Google search to see how old De Niro and Pacino were in 95.
They were closing in on 50, if not there already.
Right, and so Leo's
Which I
51
think both of them
today.
are.
Yeah,
Is he 51 already? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So this, I mean, he can age down if needed, but like that's sort of where I am. It's like how prequely are we get? But whatever. Who cares? We're getting a Heat sequel. What am I complaining about?
Both of them definitely look younger than Pacino and De Niro did in Heat, regardless of the numerical age they have.
Is it
Yeah.
possible they do one of those like sequels or prequels where it's like sort of like all of the same beats as the first movie, but like the characters are entirely different?
Sure.
There's a book. We're
This is the thing
speculating.
is we
Yeah.
need
Right.
to. I told Deepak I'm gonna get on the homework assignment for this one, and I'll report back with having read the novel after the holidays over. But I believe, just to clarify, the idea at this point is that both Bale and DiCaprio would be in the picture, according to the reporting on Deadline about this. So yeah.
And Michael B. Jordan is going to play the young version of the John Boyd character.
Yeah, right. A very essential part of this film. All right, before we get out of the roundup, I just wanted to call out, I don't know if you guys happen to see this story. This week, Pope Leo the 14th gave his blessing to the theatrical experience, saying that cinemas and theaters are the beating hearts of our communities. So while His Holiness was out here
Amen.
endorsing our nerdy endeavors, amen, thank you, Jackson, I just wanted to ask you guys, did you have any suggestions of other nerdy pastimes His Holiness could endorse? I thought I'd love to hear him put out a treatise, Bruno, on visiting your local comic book shop on a day other than Wednesday. Those guys have a lot of, they got to pay the bills. They can't just be doing new comic book day. Maybe pop in on another day, spread that business around a little bit, take the strain off the system.
I agree. I usually like visiting that shop on like Saturdays and stuff. That's when they tend to get slower and you can actually like talk to them, get some
Amen.
conversations going. Yeah, no, I can't like. There's a lot of things that you could add to this list. I think everyone who follows us knows that I am an advocate of professional wrestling, and I don't know how outdated is the message that wrestling is a sin, but no, the fuck it is.
Yeah. Right. Let's just.
That's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Pope Francis famously got gifted a copy of Undertale by Matt Pat, but I don't think he ever played it. So I think we should try that one again.
Just get the Pope really into like indie video games. I like that.
I mean, one of them's gotta be in eventually.
What if the Pope opens a Twitch account? Could you imagine?
Yeah, watch the Pope stream like AOC and like just sort of I'd tune into the Pope's sermons if he was playing Mass Effect.
If he was also like doing a thick 360 no scope at the same time.
Yeah. Deepak, I gotta assume that you're just holding out for His Holiness to endorse the as he should, the physical media lifestyle.
Yeah, I think it's important that he preach the sermon of owning the things that you want to own physically and not buying a license to play someone's digital copy of something for as long as they allow you to do so. And yeah, continue supporting sports and baseball and all that good stuff.
Perfect. All right. When we get back, Disney and AI. Good.
Talk about my boy.
No, I mean it's just me running.
Yeah, no. Deepak going to go off on this one. All right. Don't know how much y'all may have seen about this story this week, but it was reported far and wide. We are looking at an article in the Hollywood Reporter headlined Disney's AI power grab. But Disney became the first major studio this week to openly embrace an AI-driven, user-generated video shift strategy. Iger officially announced that Disney Plus will include generative AI video tools for users to remix, personalize, and reshape Disney comment. He described user-generated comment as coming soon to the platform. Here's the quote from the article. Would love reactions from everyone on the other side. Quote, user-generated content, as Iger quaintly put it, would land on the platform in the near future. Given how Sora 2 has already been showing the ease with which known personalities and moments can be recast, just a rough prompt yields a passably coherent minute of video, Iger's promise hardly seems idle. The number of adults over the age of 65 who have heard, quote, a lot about AI has doubled since 2023, according to a Pew Research study. If Disney has its way, many of them, among with their younger co-subscribers, will be using it too. So I guess my starting point here, Jack, I'll start with you just sort of as our resident AI guru. Like, I mean, I have seen certainly a lot of AI videos on the TikToks and whatnot. I don't know if you guys also get the sort of weird trends of like people slamming babies into the ground or whatever, like they're gravity hammers. Like I get, it's clearly like you'll get a weird trend like this and then like the thing will just run with it.
Yes, yeah, I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
Is
Yeah,
it
I saw
actually?
like chiropractor videos where it was
Yeah,
like they would
right, where
start
they'll just
doing
like
chiropractic
fling
and then
guys
they would
across
just
the
slam
room.
them into a wall.
But
Yeah.
are we actually in a place now where I can get like some sort of compelling 60 seconds of video from Star Wars or whatever? I mean, where are we with this technology?
Well, I'm glad
I
you
mean, I would
mentioned
be
that.
quite surprised if it delivers like a satisfying plot or even like a joke.
But that's not
in
any
that
different
time.
than the 2.5 hour Star Wars content that we get from it.
Heyo. I set him up, you knock him down. What this is, in my mind, is clearly, I mean, there is a market for it, right? As
Yeah.
these companies continue to have to take legal action against AI companies that have no right to produce images of Darth Vader surfing with Stitch. Disney
there again.
realizes, hey, people want this, and we have the right to make pictures of Darth Vader surfing.
Let's just
with
make
Stitch.
them pay us to make Darth
So
Vader
yeah,
and
I
Stitch
mean,
surf
I
together.
get like from a very jaded business perspective why they're doing this, because people are willing to pay, so they might as well pay us, because legally they should be.
Yeah.
Someone somewhere is
also
going
find
to
it-
create enough 1 minute clips in some sort of an order that tells an entire story. I'm curious to know how you generate like a 1 minute video of Luke Skywalker and Mr. Fantastic having some sort of adventure together, and you space that out
Kissing?
over 60 different 1 minute videos. You pull that out of your Disney Plus somehow and put that on your TikTok, because he mentions in the story, or the story mentions rather, that they're talking in TikTokian terms because it's only a minute or two, and past that
Yep.
the AI can't really
Yep.
handle
Right.
it. So is the idea then that whatever I make on Disney Plus, I have the ability to share with other people? Because that kind of makes things more interesting, but at the same time, I don't know how that works for Disney's business
Yeah.
model.
Well, he says it's coming to the platform, right? And I think
Mhm.
like what I took that to mean was that users will be able to share the content that they generate with other
See,
users
that makes it
within the
super cool.
Disney ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I do think that the 1 or 2 minute limit sort of sounds like it is, as the article positions it, sort of a limitation of the software right now. But I
Right.
think as that stuff continues to develop, I think that, Disney will just try and flex with any other studio. Like this is the thing, Deepak, a couple weeks ago, it was your turn to be just pissed off at Iger. I mean, this is really like the lane where Iger drives me insane. And I am really hopeful to be, I have teased this project for years. You guys know much more about it than our dear listeners, but I am really genuinely hopeful that next year will be the year that I sort of get to share my larger Disney project with our listening audience. And you guys know that I've done a lot of research into this and I have a lot of Iger thoughts and stuff. But the thing that drives me insane, and what I think has been like definitional of the Iger era in this company, especially the Iger comeback, like the post Chapek Iger era, has been trying to just do what other people do, even if they are non-entertainment groups, right?
Mhm.
We've seen like the Disney Bet infrastructure, which turned into the ESPN bet, which has like continued to morph. But like the insistence that Disney have some toehold in gambling, I feel like is a really good analogy here, where it's like, what on earth is Disney doing in gambling? Well, when you put out 5 movies that all make over $1 billion in a year, you've got to start expanding your horizons out, or your shareholders are going to think you're not being aggressive enough with their money, right? Is ultimately what it is. So now we're moving into generative AI and we're moving into gambling, right? And the same way that any sort of sports betting initiative needs an audience, and that's why we do that through ESPN. Any sort of video generative AI initiative is going to need people testing to see what it can do. So the same way that Sora 2 has its crew, Disney will have its crew. And so in exchange for doing our AI testing for us, we will let Stitch and Darth Vader surf next to each other. Like that's how I sort of view it. But when I zoom out, I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, this is not central to the mission at all, unless eventually Disney thinks they can start making good movies with it eventually. But
I mean, OpenAI is still trying to make that movie, supposedly.
But I would think that people would, regardless of what the bargaining terms actually in the like collective bargaining agreements are, people will get less angry at OpenAI than Disney, right? Like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you said, they have to play with this at some point, because if they don't get out in front of it, they're going to get left behind. That's always the fear. Even if you open the box and see what's inside, and after 2 or 3 years it doesn't produce the results that you thought it would, whether in terms of engagement or financial, whatever, you can at least say we tried, and you move on to the next thing. Right. They're obviously going to have some controls on what people can and can't do. You can't make Deadpool versus Wolverine as a porno or something like that.
There will certainly
want to.
yeah. We'll have to build our own engine for that. But we always knew that was going to be the case. What I am really surprised by, though, is the amount to which it seems like people will be able to rewrite Disney canon with it. Like maybe this isn't important. Maybe this is bullshit. And honestly, this is sort of going to butt up against a larger conversation I think he's due on this show very soon about what the next generation of consumers are going to want out of entertainment and storytelling. But tabling that for now, if I am able to use generative AI inside of Disney's ecosystem to build whatever I want using Disney IP and then share it with my friends, and if Disney's incentive structures say that that is more important than having you watch Return of the Jedi, for example, well then, what does it matter if Princess Leia is the one that kills Jabba the Hutt? If I make a really good video of Luke Skywalker cutting off Jabba the Hutt's head with a lightsaber, and if that goes viral, is it actually important to Disney and their like financial incentives that Princess Leia is the one that killed Jabba the Hutt? Like, that's the thing that I think is really interesting, where like we, for a long time we have talked about on.
Sorry, I thought you stopped. Go ahead.
No, I was just we've talked for so long about like, oh, don't let them change this thing or that thing. Don't let them like put a new version of it on streaming. Don't let them like sort of subterfuge away the past mistakes or whatever. And the fact that like now we're just going to let users AI new versions of the thing, I think is nuts though.
Yeah, I mean, and Star Wars is a weird example because the creator himself keeps doing this every few years. But philosophically, how is this any different than like people making stop motion videos on YouTube with their Star Wars action figures 20 years ago, or just kids playing with their action figures? And what if I wanted Yoda to kill Count Dooku at the end of Attack of the Clones? I can make that happen in my bedroom, right?
But Disney was never going to give that a theatrical release.
Right.
Yeah, but
philosophically, I think it's different because you might not be able to tell the difference between the real thing and the content that gets generated in theory.
But what are you talking about? Are you extrapolating that out to when these last longer than a minute or two, or just for this example? Because people are only ever going to watch these videos on their phones.
I think it just has.
They're going to be vertical.
No, I mean, if a kid films himself playing with action figures, I don't for a moment think, oh, is that what happened in Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think people are going to think that here either. We're going to know.
Well, I think that is the philosophical concern. Is that's if you don't. I mean, obviously, Return of the Jedi is a crazy example, but maybe if they edit in racism that wasn't in Dumbo before, you might be like, wait, is that what was in Dumbo before?
Yeah, the racism in Dumbo is clear enough.
The problem is the erosion of truth. And I think, again, I'm not convinced these are going to be good enough to actually make that a serious problem, at least in the short term. But I do think that's the thing people are concerned with about this.
Right.
Yeah, well, we've seen.
But isn't that where the internal restrictions come in, that Disney's not going to let you make?
Oh yeah, because that's going to work.
AI video.
I wasn't joking about Luke making out with Mr. Fantastic earlier. They're going to find a way.
Well, it'll absolutely be any kind of content moderation will be like an active problem, right? There
Yeah.
is no platform in the world that is like, we've got that, it works, it
Yeah,
works
it's
the way it's
solved and we
supposed
never
to
have to
every
touch it
time.
again.
Yeah. And like we have all seen videos of like MLK giving racist hate speeches or like Stephen King like boxing, right?
But
Like
people can still make those outside of the Disney platform, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
What I think is
isn't the bigger concern for
no,
Disney that people will think that those videos were made on the Disney platform? It's not that the
what
Disney
I
platform would make them.
what I think is weird is that for Disney, isn't all of your corporate equity tied up in like the actual movie? Right? Like, don't you want to be able to show like Luke, I am your father, the one version, the true version of
Right.
that exists? Like, isn't that worth like $1 billion to you? Isn't it sort of silly that you, Bob Iger, are gonna let me like make Darth Vader have tie-dyed armor when he says that? Like, just the way, like the number of different ways that people are going to have seen this, I feel like it's going to like reduce the value of the actual thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're letting
They've already
people
done
like,
that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Maybe not financially, but I don't think Star Wars has anywhere near the kind of cultural cachet it did pre-Episode 7 or
but
pre-Episode 9.
Star Wars, Schmar Wars. I keep using that because it's like closest to hand for me. But like, I just think that this is a short termism that is like paying out right now because they're like, this is trendy. We need to capitalize on this. And I don't know that they are like preserving the quality of their like ecosystem. I don't know that they're like defending their IP.
I
with
hear what
this
you're getting
move.
at. It would be crazy if they were like, we'll let anyone make a Star like you
Yeah,
get to
right.
make 60 seconds of the next Star Wars movie.
Yeah, like to your point, Deepak, like if everybody only gets to make one 60-second video, there are 200 million Disney Plus subscribers. That's a lot of 60-second Star Wars videos going out all of a sudden with some level of production quality that Disney wants to have control over. And that's the reason they're in-housing it, right? Is to be able to say like, well, at least it looks like Darth Vader. It will always be style guide Darth Vader. And they think that that somehow makes it correct.
So going back to your original, what you read at the beginning of this, is the end game here that they are trying to use Disney Plus users as beta testers to train their own in-house AI so that they can get to the point in the next 5 to 10 years where
they can
we get a fully generative AI movie?
Jack, I would love your thoughts on that, but I think that that's probably the case.
I mean, we have been talking so much about Star Wars. I do think it's interesting the amount of Star Wars controversy that there has been within the fan base. Maybe they do just want everyone to have their own personal version of Star Wars that they have no complaints about.
Let it burn.
That nobody brings it up again.
Everybody shut up. Have whatever Star Wars you want.
But I am highly skeptical on the plausibility of generating anything good, like completely from scratch. Maybe with human editors involved. Like maybe this could be a tool in the way CGI is a tool. But even that.
Here's another sort of pertinent section from the article that I'll read, and we can maybe kind of all give our thoughts on this, and then we'll close out and move on to the next story here. But so again, this is from the article on the Hollywood Reporter about this topic that I would recommend anybody interested in this story go and read. It was a really informative piece. But this quote says, "For all the drama attending the AI announcement, it remains deeply unclear how people will use it. Will we deploy the tech to create new endings, alternate scenes, fresh sequels, or even entirely new story content that eschews the professionals? Or are we heading to a world that's a lot like this one, with quick memes and inside jokes, personal adornments, and cameoized appearances, only now steroidal thanks to AI? Nobody knows, like the tech company's own relationship with their model's inner workings. Nobody seems to want to know. Better to just do it and see what happens." And I do think that that does sort of summarize a lot of people's opinions on AI right now. You know, I thought that the article kind of poignantly ended by pointing out that someone could create a version of Jurassic Park where Goldblum never implies that your scientists shouldn't have done it just because they didn't know how to do it or whatever. And like that was maybe a little too on the nose for me. But you know, I don't know that any of this is so capable that we could hurt ourselves with it right now. I think my worry is that we get there and we don't recognize that and we don't make any changes to it. So I always get cagey about this, but I know that that's me and that's kind of my bit on this show. So I'll leave you guys to actually give informed thoughts on this.
I mean, of the two options there that she lays out, or the writer lays out, I'll cop out and say it could be both. Like we said, it could be in the short term. We look back on this and it's like Vine. They're like short little videos that people made once upon a time because they could, and then the technology went away because it wasn't serving Disney's ultimate purpose. Or it does serve Disney's ultimate purpose, which, like we said, is to understand the AI better and to train it and to figure out a way to get more and more out of it in the long term. I don't know from the consumer perspective that we're ever going to get more than just a few minutes of being able to have, we can change the ending of episode 9 to be something good, but
Right.
Keep harping on Star Wars again, but there's who wouldn't
And
want
you
to
wonder
see?
why we give you a whole corner.
I'm all the way over here in this corner here, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna ramble. You guys go ahead.
Right. I don't know. I again, like, I guess like everybody, I mainly only see this like succeeding in the short term. I see, like, especially when it comes to like the long form, this definition of it all I envision is pretty much just like red versus blue, but it's Star Wars instead of Halo.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much what we get.
Yeah, I in all of the video generation that I've seen from these tools, they're like it's so short and I don't know, not nonsensical, but just like there's never any purpose to like what you are actually watching. Like, why is it a video and not a photo?
Right.
So if they could crack that nut, I might be more interested. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a lot like these pictures of just characters together, but they move a little bit. I don't know. I'm sure people will pay money for it. I mean, I guess that's an interesting question. Are you going to have to pay more money for it, or will it be included in my Disney subscription?
It certainly won't be that.
Yeah. They're not giving this to you for free.
Okay, we'll do this middle segment quick, and then we'll go on to Game Awards. All right, next up, we've got robot news. Hey, we got robot news. Long-time listeners of this program will know that I am the watcher on the wall. I am the final stance against the robot resistance. I am all that stands between us and the artificial intelligence apocalypse. And today, I come to you all to let you know that prominent grocery store giant Kroger has acknowledged that it went too far with robotics. And that's the headline. Okay. I'm not even embellishing that.
What did they do?
I'll share this in our podcast.
Did they kill a man?
Because eagle-eyed listeners of this show will know that I always trick you all with robot news. You never know what's coming. I tell you there's a different story. I put something different in the notes. They didn't kill a man, but they have decided that they are going to shutter 3 of their robotic e-commerce fulfillment facilities in a sharp turnaround for the grocery store that had recently expressed confidence in its ability to leverage automation to run a profitable online grocery business. So, that's much like killing a man in some ways. And I take all the wins.
You went too far.
Listen, in a world where Bob Iger is rolling out artificial intelligence to every 7-year-old with a Disney Plus access, I'll take any win I can get in the battle against artificial intelligence.
Intelligence is artificial.
So Kroger had launched a partnership with Okada, a robotics company that believed in the relentless drive to innovate way ahead of the market in order to delight our customers and advance our position as one of America's leading e-companies, former Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen said in a video about improvement.
He's the former CEO?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, you see, what had happened was that they had plans to expand to a fleet of high-tech distribution centers where they were going to have like little, you've seen those little Waymos that bring you stuff? Yeah, you've seen these roaming about on college campuses or in high metropolitan areas. They're like little coolers on wheels, and they drive around.
Yes. Okay.
And they go, "Hey, I'm at your dorm. Please take
away." I don't live in New York anymore.
Please take your ramen.
All these doodads.
So they made a massive investment in trying to go in that direction, and I think the technology just didn't work. I think it was just a bad move. Look, I basically Google robot news every week and try and find opportunities for me to win. In this instance, Kroger invested a lot in these little delivery robots and it didn't work out. And that's what I have.
Fair enough.
Well, isn't this like one of those stores where you would like put in, like, you don't go shopping, you put in your order and then the robots do the shopping for
Right.
you
There's like
from
an app.
a big grid,
Right.
and then you show up at like the facade in the front and just get your stuff. I don't know. I find it, I don't know, it's weird. What failed about it? Like, did people just not like the experience, or
They put the marketplaces in the wrong spots. They basically tried to do it in the suburbs.
So they'll try this again.
I mean, I don't know if they'll try this again. They spent $400 million.
they might need to build up the coffers a little more.
Yeah, they spent $400 million building these suburban grocery retail joints that nobody's ever going to go to. Apparently, it's going to cost $2.6 billion to like correct a lot of this stuff.
Oh,
So-
Jesus.
Yikes.
God, it's good
Yeah.
to be a consultant.
Yeah, we're coming back it's going to be a long walk back for the Kroger robots. Maybe one day.
All right.
But big win till then. All right, on the other side of this, we're talking Game Awards. Stick around. As we said at the top of this show, it is time once again for everybody's favorite time of the year, that time when we reward some of the
Everybody's.
most massively successful video games of the year by also handing them trophies. Jackson, as our lead Games Award correspondent, why don't you catch us
As
up?
local Jeff Keighley Hunter, stalking in the brush to find out what he's up to.
You're going to get him if he's ever around. Jack, if
Yeah.
you were, let me ask you this. Actually, before we get started, I think this is a really important question, and it will help us level set on what your feelings on Mr. Keighley are.
Mm-hmm.
If Jeff was on Dancing with the Stars,
Okay.
how many episodes from the finale, so how many would remain before you would stop voting for him?
Well,
Because I
listen,
have to assume you'd take him through the first couple of rounds, but like, would you vote for him in the final, the semifinal?
I mean, I'm a principled man. It all depends on how well he could dance.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very fair response. I appreciate that a lot. You would judge him just as evenly as you would judge
Yeah,
Carl
based on
Banks
the
or the
content of
Crocodile Hunter's son.
his sachet, not his
Yeah.
history in the video game industry. But obviously, he has an extensive history in the video game
An
industry.
extensive and checkered history.
So the Game Awards have been put on by Jeff Keighley since 2014, I think, were the first ones that were called that. And before that, he hosted the Spike Game Awards, which they're sort of a spiritual successor to. Keighley fancies himself a real insider in the industry. He's good friends with all sorts of developers and other folks and other actual celebrities who will sometimes make appearances. The Game Awards were hosted by the Muppets a few years ago.
Actual
as the scale of this, the most notable celebrities I've ever seen on, for sure. As the scale of these awards continues to grow, I must come to terms with the fact that Jeff is probably not leaving my life anytime soon. I'm, just to put it on the table, not a fan of awards shows. Kind of I mean, I know this is kind of going off brand. I don't like the attitude that award shows instill in people, where it becomes so competitive. Like, I feel like it's just nicer to talk about the good things that everything did and not make there be like a single winner. But
Just appreciate how
it
well
is also
these
fun to like
secret
have a competition about it.
Mormon wives can dance.
So we recently got the nominees for the 2025 Game Awards. I sent them to you all, as well as my votes. Yeah, and it seems like it's Claire Obscure Expedition 33's time to shine.
It does
With
seem
the
that way.
most nominations in Game Award history, at 12 nominations.
Really?
More than God of War Ragnarok, which got 11, or The Last of Us Part 2, which also got 11. Notably, 3 of their awards are for Best Performance.
Yeah.
And 9 are for the actual game, for the game itself. And not for the
Stupid
actors.
question here.
So
but
that does tamper it a little bit, but it is still an impressive achievement.
There were not 32 previous Claire Obscure expeditions, right?
We're not. No, this was in fact, their first game, which it seems to have qualified it for best debut indie game. I mentioned before, somewhat contentiously. Oh, they did take Megabonk off of the voting page for best debut indie game. And this is my first time going back since the guy
That was pretty quick.
withdrew his nomination.
Deepak,
yeah.
within the mythology of the game, there have been 32 previous expeditions.
There have actually been 67 previous.
There have been 67. You're right.
Spoilers.
Yeah, because they're counting down. Yeah.
Pardon moi is
They
correct.
go backwards.
I remember us talking about this. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I got quite into this game,
Yes.
and I am voting for it in quite a few of the awards. I think I have it for 5: Game of the Year, Best Direction, Best Narrative, Best Score, and Best RPG.
Yep. I think I also have it for 5 nominations, and I'm pretty much
you have
pretty
it
much
for
all the same nominations as you, Jack, except for like we have like one mismatch.
Yeah, we flipped art direction and score with Silk Song and
Exactly.
Play
Yep.
Obscure, where I gave it the award for having the hand-drawn animation that I'm such a fan of. I was going to say something very dirty
Just a
for no
slutty
reason.
little girl.
Such a slut
Basically, yeah.
Speaking of, just quick shout out to Mighty Nine for like the insult of the century with slut sewer rat.
Jeez.
Bruno, I know you're the only one that I know has also put in your votes. Did you have any other categories you wanted to talk about specifically? Or awards or anything?
Let me just pull up my voting card, just to like remind myself, just in case. I wanted to just shout out Erika Ishii getting a nomination for Ghost of Yotei.
You voted for her for best performance.
I'm really pulling for her there. Best sim / strategy game, The Altars, was a sleeper hit for me this year. Me and Jack have talked about it here and there. Is there anything else? There was one other one that I'm blanking on. Oh yeah, just Dispatch, best indie debut. I think
you wanted best debut indie game to be Dispatch.
I am almost confident that is a lock, but we'll see like how the voting turns out. And then also just Rogue Incursion, Alien Rogue Incursion, because I know everyone here is an Alien fan. That was a fun game. It's one of the rare occasions where I actually enjoyed playing a VR game because I don't usually enjoy VR. So that was a good time.
Well, so some details about how voting for the Game Awards actually works is that the fan votes online account for 10% of the final vote. So they are effectively a tiebreaker if the actual judges cannot decide.
And who are the actual judges?
I don't
They're just like various industry veterans?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack, when you were saying you're voting, I assumed that you were voting as an industry insider.
Well, I mean, that's a separate. I can't talk about that.
That's the secret ballot.
I've said too much.
A jury of over 100 games, media, and influencer outlets.
Yeah. And also lining up with this group's interests, me and Jack both vetoed GTA 6 as an option for anticipated game and voted 007 first.
Because you can vote for it next year.
So on those topics you talked about, Bruno, for best performance, I put down, and Riley, you alluded to this in the intro, I put Troy Baker, who is an industry mainstay. He has been in fucking everything. He has shockingly not won a game award. The thing people would probably expect him to have won for is Joel in The Last of Us. But
Indeed.
you may remember earlier, I told you that the Game Awards started in 2014 and The Last of Us came out in 2013. So he couldn't get a Game Award for that game.
And The Last of Us Part 2 came out in a pretty packed year.
Well, he wasn't
voice acting performance.
Sort of infamously, he was much less
supporting actor, maybe.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I think we should give it to him. He did a good Harrison Ford impression in the Indiana Jones game.
He did grumble so good.
I'm secretly actually giving it to him for Higgs.
For Death Stranding 2, as am I. That's also
being
for him.
Indiana Jones. What were the other ones you were talking about? Yeah, Altair's is a great game. People should go play it. most anticipated game, you and I both put down 007 First Light. I would love to see it carry, to see everyone take a moral stance against Grand Theft Auto 6 winning best or most anticipated game twice in a row. In general, I think even for the categories that you can be nominated for more than once, you shouldn't be able to win twice. Best
I agree.
ongoing, best community support, and most anticipated. I don't think you should be able to win more than once.
So in 2020, just in case anybody was wondering, the best
GTA
performance
6 won.
nominees were that was actually GTA 6 was most anticipated game.
Mhm.
The best performance nominees were Logan Cunningham from Hades, a game that has a sequel this year.
Right.
Najee Jester, who plays Miles Morales in Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yep.
Ashley Johnson as Elle in Last of Us Part 2.
Great.
Daisuke Tsuji, who played Jin in Ghost of Tsushima, a game that has a sequel this year. And Laura Bailey as Abby in Last of Us Part 2. So I just wanted to call out the sort of weirdness of that year that we have two games. Laura Bailey as Abby for Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. I remember like Laura,
and nobody was upset about that.
Nobody had any opinions about that at all. Everyone was cool and normal about it, just like they were about the last season of
Jack,
Last
am
of
I
Us.
making this up, or was Laura literally in the middle of playing D&D when she won?
She she left the Game Awards to go be on Critical Role. She wasn't supposed to be on that episode, and she showed up like in a gala dress. And then halfway through the episode, they had to be like, you won, and you're not there.
Yeah.
Yep, all of that happened.
That's great. Planning.
There are a lot of awards that I don't care about. Respectfully, there's a lot of esports awards and stuff that I just are not communities that I really pay attention to. But a couple of awards that I did want to highlight is the Innovation in Accessibility and Games for Impact, which are two awards that I really like.
Yes.
How do we get nominated for this Content Creator of the Year?
I don't know if
we got to play more games.
Yeah.
We got to play a lot more games.
All right, sorry.
Although I also don't know many of these people on here.
No, I never heard any of these folks, but I just figured that's because I'm old and boring. Sorry, Jack, please do spotlight the charities before we move on.
Well, so Innovation and Accessibility is for pushing boundaries in accessibility settings and features. There's a lot of good options. I have been fluctuating on this one. Adamfall is supposed to have a lot of interesting features to let you play with visual impairments or even blind, which is very interesting for a first-person shooter. But I haven't actually gotten the chance to try those features, and certainly I wouldn't be an authority on them anyway.
Right.
So I decided to vote for a game that I really liked and whose accessibility features I did use, South of Midnight.
Yeah.
I would love to give it an award for Very Pretty, but unfortunately Very Pretty is a pretty stacked category this year. So I'll give it the awards that I can. South of Midnight had a huge number of different features to help you navigate through the world and to understand where to go and to adjust the difficulty of combat and all sorts of, not that it was particularly difficult, but all sorts of stuff that was very helpful.
And it had what I always love, a great and helpful colorblind mode.
Indeed.
Yeah, I did love that a lot. And just one last thing real quick to touch on, because I don't think any other place is going to be giving this show any coverage, and I don't think people are going to be voting for it. But on the best adaptation category, first things first, fuck the Minecraft movie. I voted for Splinter Cell Death Watch off of Netflix, and much like The Alters, another sleeper hit for me this year that has been just very entertaining to watch. Anyone who is a fan of the Sleeper Cell franchise is going to have a good time with that.
I did abstain from best adaptation because, in my opinion, the answer is Sonic 3, which came out in December of last year and so did not qualify at the time. And everyone's saying that they kind of straight up forgot, and that's why it's not on the list this year. I can either speak to that, but I do think it's better than any of the options.
Who are the nominees this year?
The Minecraft movie, the Devil May Cry animated series on Netflix, Last of Us Season 2, Splinter Cell, as Bruno alluded to, the animated series on Netflix.
I did say I want to be called Deepak this episode.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
You're causing a lot of confusion.
And Until Dawn, which was
the Until Dawn movie that is not even out yet.
Yeah.
So they nominated a movie that's not out yet, as opposed to a movie that's been out for almost a year.
Exactly. That's why everyone's like,
Until Dawn
oh,
didn't
so
come
they
out.
forgot.
Until Dawn
Did
did
it?
come out. Yeah.
It came out in
When?
April.
It was kind of shitty.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow,
forever ago.
it came and went with such ferocity that we
already.
thought
Maybe
it
I
hadn't
was
come out.
reading about a different thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
I
still
think-
kind of proves Jack's point. Like,
See,
we already
Okay,
forgot
well,
about
I
it.
mean,
Until Dawn feels more like it came last year than Sonic 3 does.
There you go.
Maybe that's the problem. Yeah.
I mean,
I think
that's what
Last of
these-
Us 2 should clear that, but it probably won't.
That's what these Sony direct to Netflix releases that aren't seismic animated culture shifts do. They just get lost in the algorithm. I do want to end. I know everybody keeps interrupting this effort, Jack, but I would like to end with the Games for Impact stuff. So would you?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk through
Games for
those?
Impact is sort of a category for often smaller, more artsy games that have like a social message or like are trying to create like some kind of discourse around a more thought-provoking issue. I voted for Wanderstop, which is the newest game by Davey Wreden, who created Stanley Parable and The Beginner's Guide. The Beginner's Guide came out when I was going into, like, strongly considering going into game development as a career. And not to spoil that game too much, but it does effectively end with a game developer having a mental breakdown on the microphone.
Yep.
And made me maybe reconsider like my life goals in specific ways. That game was very impactful to me because of like who I was and when I played it. But I think he took a lot of the message that was bottled up, the very personal message bottled up in that, and put it in a much more accessible form to the general gaming public in Wanderstop. So I would recommend it strongly. It is a game about dewiring your brain from the messed up ways that games can make you think, where you always have to achieve something or do something as perfectly as possible or make the numbers get higher or whatever. It's just a nice little game about making tea and sitting in a garden sometimes. So I do like it a lot.
Yeah, I thought all the Games for Impact nominees this year were really great. Consume Me was a game about sort of the bizarre ways in which our teenage brains can shift the reality of the world to make it feel worse for us because human experience is just so wonderful. Despelote was like a really
Despelote is a very cute little game.
Despelote hit a little bit closer to home than I was expecting. And
Bruno,
year.
Talk about Despelote, my man.
No. It is a really, really fun, cute game where you're just a kid learning how to play soccer. But it is a lot. It is a lot more than that. It is a lot more about growing up, and like I said, it just really.
It's set in Ecuador in 2002. Yeah, it's set in Ecuador in 2002, the year they qualified for the FIFA World Cup. And like the main mechanic is you just walk around your town being so excited about soccer and playing soccer with everyone that you see.
Hell yeah.
And it's very cute.
So this is not an adaptation of the Justin Bieber song.
No. Then there's Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, which was sort of a coming of age teens on bikes thing set in the 90s, which I just thought was really interesting looking, although I didn't play. South of Midnight, which Jack talked about, was
Midnight again, which I was
beautiful game about growing up in Louisiana. Especially sort of focusing on the plights of racial minorities there. And then Wanderstop. Yeah. So just all those games I thought were really good. And just I always love the Games for Impact category. And I always like that we get to talk about it.
Agreed.
All right. When we get back, pop culture recommendations. Also, the Dancing with the Stars finalists include an Olympic gymnast and a social media personality. We could be all over the place here, guys. We could be in Dancing with the Stars. We could be nominated for Game Awards next year. We could be getting Golden Globes.
Sure to like and subscribe so we can do all these things.
Please.
That's it. That does it for all the nerdy news that we're going to tell you about this week. It's late. We're getting out of here. But before we go, we're going to take a minute to spotlight some pop culture recommendations. These are things we've been watching, reading, eating, playing, or listening to that we've enjoyed recently, and we think you'll like too. I'm going to go run and get mine, and I'm going to ask Bruno to stall for me.
Sure. So I am going with a little bit of a doubleheader this week because I've been going to the movies a lot. And I guess my favorite letter this week is R because I watched The Running Man and Roof Man. taking care of, I guess, like the lesser of the two out of the way, The Running Man was actually a little bit better to me than like most people would say. There has been like a lot of mixed reviews about it, but I actually had a really really good time. I agree, it's definitely like not the most Edgar Wright movie out of his filmography out there, but if you're just looking for like a bombastic good time, I do think it's just a really good, just like casual watch. Definitely wouldn't say like go running to the theaters to catch it or try to like rent it out, but like when it's on a streaming service and you're just having a rainy day, I think it'll be like pretty entertaining for like all people involved, especially now having expectations going in. Moving on to something a lot better. Roofman was probably the most pleasant surprise for me this year, starring Channing Tatum and directed by Derek Cianfrance. Sorry for mispronouncing your last name, which I did not know he was like directing this movie. You guys, either Riley or Deepak, introduced me to him last year with A Place Beyond the Pines, and I have been
That
a
would have been.
fan. I have been a fan ever since, and much like with that, this has been just a really great, heartfelt, like sort of like slice of life story. A lot more accurate with the based on a true story like perspective than like some would expect with these sort of movies. I definitely expected it to be like a much goofier vibe, but it was definitely much more down the dramatic road. And there was still comedy in there, but it worked really well. And yeah, no, I already watched it. I think 3 times so far, and I'm probably going to be watching it again. It is a sleeper hit for me. I don't know. I don't remember where I'm ranking it on my list, but it's like right behind Begonia, and I keep debating if I want to put it past Begonia or not. And like that's how I'm feeling about
3 times you get the special poster.
it.
Yeah, no, CM Fran's a Deepak guy for sure. Pack, what you got?
I actually have not been watching, reading, eating, drinking anything the last week. I apologize, but now that my wife has finished her big exam that she had the other day, we are going to start watching All Her Fault on Peacock, which is right up that Big Little Lies avenue that I like to live on once in a while. So I don't know if I hope it's good enough to recommend. I'm just telling you, I'm going to watch it. So if anyone else wants to watch along,
Sarah Snook is so good, man. I was disappointed I didn't get
she's
to see
really
her on
good.
Broadway when she was doing that Dorian Gray thing or whatever she was doing.
I finished All Her Fault with Holly this past weekend, and I thought it was really good.
Oh, awesome.
Mainly just like basically an acting clinic from everybody. Mainly the male lead, who I am blanking on, but me and Deepak already love him from the first season of White Lotus. I am blanking on
Jake
his name.
Lacey. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. He does a tremendous job in this show. Yeah.
Good. I like him a lot. So looking forward to it.
Baby brother.
Yeah. So on Amazon Prime, there is The Mighty Nine, which is the animated show based off of Campaign 2 of Critical Role. I was a fine enough fan of Vox Machina and their first campaign, but The Mighty Nine and their second campaign is the one that I got obsessed with. So I am very excited for this show. The first 3 episodes are out today, basically, as of the time of recording. So, and I believe they're doing new episodes weekly after that. So go check it out.
Well, speaking of content about the online personalities we all get obsessed with, for the last 10 years, New York-based improvisational comedian Connor Ratliff has performed a series of shows where he has taken on the character of retired filmmaker George Lucas. And this very week, I got my hands on a newly released documentary about the program titled "I'm George Lucas: A Connor Ratliff Story." If you are unfamiliar with the George Lucas talk show, I cannot recommend it enough. It is probably the thing that I watch that brings me the most joy of all the stuff I watch on the internet. Connor has been playing retired filmmaker George Lucas for over 10 years. He has on a series of A-list guests. Regulars include Severance's Zach Cherry, among others. Griffin Newman of The Tick plays his sidekick. As all you know, late night talk shows, of course, need to have a sidekick. And so George's sidekick is Flying Space Jew Watto, who sits in the corner and talks like you know he talks. It's all very good and hilarious. I have a great time with it. It makes me laugh so hard. And I think the best part of it is Connor's ability in the character of George to bring literally any statement back to focusing on George's financial success and the success and how smart and good he was in making the Star Wars films. It makes me laugh all the time, and this documentary really just gives insight into what a work of passion and joy it is. I hope one day to be able to see George on stage doing his talk show, but until then, getting to watch the documentary at home was a real treat. This has been Nerd Here Weekly. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to rate and review the show wherever you find podcasts. We also want to remind you to subscribe either on YouTube at youtube.com/@nerdherefirst or on our website, nihf.com, where you can type in your email address, click subscribe, and just like that, you'll be signed up to receive updates on all the great stuff we do, including movie reviews, more coming soon in the new year, and as I said, more stuff coming like Bruno and I talking comics, books, etc. We want to thank Purple Planet. Yes, comic books. We want to thank Purple Planet for our logo and art. No. Look how goofed up I am. We want to thank Wiki Rascals for our logo and artwork. We want to thank Purple Planet for the music. We want to thank Bruno Meneses for editing and producing this show. We want to thank you for listening to it. And we hope that you'll take some time to share it with a friend this week. And don't forget to tune in next week to hear